Hi Anti-Society, welcome back to the Anti-Social Planet, and today we are checking out chapters 4 and 5 of Season 2 of Tower of God. I have to remember to say that. Season 2, so we left off on a pretty important moment, I think, where we had this probably bomb character who has decided to shift a little bit from deciding to not attack the other people that are going through this test and has decided that he is actually going to take them all out, which I kind of believe considering he was surrounded by bodies, people knocked out. There were a lot of people laying on the floor when we were introduced to him, so I believe in the capability, but we've only seen a little sliver of what he's capable of now that he is actually fighting with some of the other regulars going through this test. Excited to kind of see where that escalates to. We've seen some Shinsu manipulation and also some like close up hand-to-hand combat, which again, it's probably bomb, and we haven't seen him do anything like that before because he didn't have that kind of training. So now that we've had this time jump, we're getting, you know, someone who has been working at this for many years now and has a bunch of experience with his abilities and with fighting and stuff like that. So excited to see how that is going to go as we go through the rest of the test. We had this connection to a criminal organization who are like against jihad and stuff like that. So he's obviously been caught up in some of that as well, but we don't have any context for that yet. So lots of things going on that I just had to leave for a month. So I'm excited to get back into reading this. So let's just get into chapter 4. Okay, so we're opening back up with probably bomb. Eventually I'll get confirmation. I'm just like assuming. Interesting that he has the long hair again too. Now that I'm just thinking of like cyclical things, where I remember before I was talking about how we had like Bomb wanting to make friends with people in that like first test where he was really trying to make friends and he liked the idea of like working with people like Kun and Rock and stuff, whereas in like parallel to this one where he really doesn't want to team up with people. Also interesting that he has long hair again, which is something that he had in the flashbacks, just connecting pieces together, trying to connect pieces. Yeah, he's a little bit intense. Just slightly. I don't know if spitting is necessary, but okay. I believe that he would want to team up. He seems like the scheming type that would just be like, what can I do to win this? I like that he calls him Teddy Bear. I think that's cute. Probably not supposed to be that way. It's probably not supposed to be like an adoring way. It's probably supposed to be a little demeaning, but also it's cute. So I'm going to allow it. He seems not intimidated by the prospect of defeating both of them. I love the little detail around them of like the floor being damaged, but it's just like a slight different. It's almost like the same hue as like the shadows that we have over here. I feel like a lot of people would like ink this in comics to like really show the like cracks and damage and stuff, but in most cases it's just like part of the first layer is gone, so the light doesn't hit it properly, which makes sense that it would have like a similar hue to the shadows. Are you gonna finish him in one shot? I don't think so. I'm gonna hypothesize that is not going to work. I like the scale here though, especially since we have like the darker colors, so it's kind of hard to see that there's like another person here. Again, does not seem intimidated by what's going on. Ooh, that, I feel like that would really hurt. Shinsu directly into like your torso seems like a bad thing, especially since we have kind of the like rings that are like the shock wave. I feel like that would be very unpleasant. Oh, unless you have a shield made of Shinsu, then I guess it's okay. I guess it depends on the person. Ooh, did he use the shield? Because we did have before where like Bomb was really good at like seeing other people using Shinsu, and then he just kind of figured it out on the fly. We had that when he was going up against Quant, where like he like immediately was able to adjust what he was doing to match up with Quant's ability, which was something that made him like stick out. So if he like immediately was like, all right, I can figure out how to make a shield in the middle of a fight, I think that's such a flex. Like that's such a moment of you think that you can outsmart me or like outmaneuver me, and it's just not gonna work. Yeah, I think he's gonna figure out how to get around this guy's shield as well. Oh man, I'm not gonna remember any names. Did we know their names? They have gone out of my head. It has been a month. Ooh, did he actually like attack him, or was it like fake before attacking him? Ooh, wow. The like mixture sorry, we can admire the artwork for a second. The like mixture of like the darker blue and then the lighter blue like swirling together, because we had like Bob's ability, which is the like darker blue, and then we had, I don't know, goth guy who had like the lighter blue. So the two of them like mixing together is really cool. That seems not normal. Is it like a bomb, which is kind of poetic? It's like a concentration of Shinsu, I'm assuming, that has like a delay to it, which is basically a bomb. Seems a little bit more controlled though if it's only going in the one direction. I love the gradient of Bomb's Shinsu, of it like going from like this black into this darker blue. There's just something about it. Yeah, he's pretty quick, so you're gonna have to keep an eye on him. Cool with the blurring effects too, where it's like so quick with the use of his different Shinsu that like it doesn't fully register. Yeah, no, you should probably come up with some kind of plan. I feel like a lot of them are like, oh, he's fighting someone else, I will just be in this state of shock about what exactly is happening, and then forgetting that when he is finished with whoever he is fighting, he is going to move on to the rest of them, because that's what he said he was going to do. So maybe should have come up with some sort of plan to deal with the situation. I understand being shocked and not being able to do anything, but it isn't the best when going up the tower. One needs to be constantly coming up with backup plans. If I've learned anything from Kun. Okay, confidence, good. Do we have a plan? I guess we haven't seen him actually fight. Oh, I don't think that counts as a plan. I don't think yelling and running is exactly a strategy, but whatever works, I guess. I love the non-reaction of just, what is even happening? Is that a Pokeball? I know it probably isn't within canon, but is it supposed to be like a Pokeball, but like for Shinsu or something? I don't know what to do with this information being in my life. This is like when they told me that Dragon Ball was canon within the Tower of God world. Is Pokemon too? Is he just a nerd? And he's like, I will make my item for Shinsu a Pokeball? I need answers. He's just throwing them behind him and hoping that it'll work out. Now I need fan art of Tower of God within the Pokemon universe. What kind of Pokemon would they have? Like, would they have a specific type? I need that. If it's out there, let me know. If not, I might have to make it because it's in my brain now. And like, you really think this is gonna work? I don't think it'll work, but screaming and running may be the only thing he can come up with in the current circumstances. I do love that he has like all of this confidence and then like immediately backs down from it. Like one of those moments where he was like, yeah, I'm totally gonna like pass this test. And then he walked in and saw Bomb with all of these bodies laying around him and he was like, so wanna be friends? And then now he's like, all right, I'll like fight this guy, but not actually. I'm just going to run away and throw some Shinsu bombs and hope that it'll work out. He's survived this long, so there must be something to it, I guess. Well, I guess there is the time limit, isn't there? So I guess screaming and running could be a viable strategy if you can last long enough. You might want to get out of the way, because I don't think being hit by like a Shinsu, I don't know, strengthened punch would be a good time. Skeleton? What does that mean? Should I know this? This is the problem with being gone for so long. I'm like, is there information that I should have in my brain still that's just gone? I hope not. I don't think I know anything about Skeleton. Is it an ability? Because we don't really know what his whole thing is with fighting. Gum bombs? Why does that make me think of Hunter x Hunter? If you know, you know. I won't descend into all of the other anime references. Ah, yes, Skeleton. So he's thinking about how he's gonna have to give up his body. I had like a vague memory of it. Right, he sold his body to the weird guy with the flower. Thank you for the reminder. I mean, okay, if they're gum, right, then I'm assuming they have a certain kind of adhesive strength. And if you can keep Bomb in one place long enough for the timer to run out, then it could work. I mean, he can also like use attacks at like distances, so I don't know how helpful it'll be, but at least if he can't chase you, then you're limiting some of his ability to do anything. Maybe. I'm trying to help out. I have a soft spot for the Pokemon trainer and would like him to do okay, especially since he has basically given his own body as collateral for this. I'd prefer if he didn't lose it to the really creepy loan shark guy. Yeah, I mean, might as well try everything. This is like giving me flashbacks to stuff in Pokemon though, where like, you know, when you're going through a specific area, like especially caves, and you just get so many layers like down into one of those caves, and then you get to a point where you're like running out of Pokemon and stuff. The stress. of just being like, I don't know, I'm gonna throw this like Pidgey at this Pokemon and hope for the best. We've all been there. Something happened. I'm also conflicted because I don't want you to hurt Bomb. I'm very attached to him, but I'm also kind of hesitant about what to do with him, given that he seems to have changed quite a bit. But in my brain, he is still the sweetie pie from season 1, so if you could not hurt him, I would appreciate that. I feel like everyone should just be friends and make it out fine, but that's probably just me. What happened? Did someone else attack? We do have 2 other people that are in the room. Again, forgetting about other people being there. Or does he have some kind of, I don't know, limit? Weakness? Did he just like run out of juice partway through? It could also be the Shinsu, right? Shinsu might not have the same effect on him as other materials, given that he's a wave controller. Okay, so I feel like it is the Shinsu. I was like, I feel like because he's really good with Shinsu manipulation and controlling it and stuff, that would be not as effective as just like a physical weapon, because then he kind of is like, that's his weak point, is like, if it's Shinsu, people kind of think that they should just use Shinsu because it's technically the most powerful against like your average kind of fighter, but then with Bomb, it's probably best to avoid it. I'm sorry, you can't tell me this isn't a Pokeball. Like, this is a great ball. Don't even play around with me. I've played hundreds of hours of Pokemon. I know Pokeball when I see one. Is he gone? Did he escape? Or is something else going on? What? Yes, that is my confusion as well. What is it? It looks like a rib cage, which is very unnerving. Is it like a rib cage? It's red though, which isn't what we've seen with Bomb's Shinsu up to this point. Interesting. Is this something to do with a different ability, an item, a weapon, with the organization that he's joined? Because they had the red with like the symbols. It's kind of like a play on like the jihad symbol with like the red 3 eyes. I'm not gonna know, am I? You're gonna make me wait for the next chapter? Sure. Well, joke's on you. I'm going to read the next chapter right now, so your cliffhanger doesn't work. When I see like red, I think jihad, or at least some kind of connection to that. Like people who work for jihad and use different items and Shinsu on his behalf. And I know that we have the group that he's part of. Bomb is part of. Interesting. Okay, chapter 5. Let's see where this goes. Weird ribcage thing. I don't want him to be hurt though. I'm protective. Do we know what it is? Is it a recognizable technique, perhaps? Ooh, does it have a healing effect? That's probably handy. See, because we have the red on his costume, which is how they were like, he's part of this particular like criminal syndicate thing. So I wonder if it's connected to that. You know, like a perk, I guess, of being in part of the group. Or if it's just something that he's developed because he's part of that group and he's probably met lots of people with different kinds of techniques and stuff. I don't know. It's been 5 years, so I don't really know what he's been up to. Ooh, is that the timer? Did we succeed in lasting long enough? That means they're gonna have to deal with each other in the next test, aren't they? Which might be slightly awkward, especially if they have to team up in some way. Might be a little bit awkward to kind of explain this whole I tried to kill you thing in the last test, but he doesn't seem super sociable, so maybe it won't matter. Ooh, imagine you have to get into an elevator with someone who just actively tried to kill you. Being in an elevator is awkward enough as is when you're just like, you know, trying to get to your floor, but then having to be in an elevator with someone who's just tried to kill you. Like, what do you do in that situation? I like the shadow though. I like that he's like turned away and then we see the shadow like go on his face first. We've had lots of blocking with his face where we can't see parts of it. We haven't seen his eyes. There's so much about him that is like in this shadow. And I said before about him being kind of ghoulish. There's something almost incorporeal about him in the way that he's drawn. So I like that he's kind of like blending in with the shadows. But we do see like a little bit of his expression change in like the silhouette, which I think is interesting. Now that he knows that no one can see his face, I feel like that might be a point where he's actually like letting some of that emotion or his reaction to what happened show, but no one can see it. So it's kind of this veiled reaction to what's going on. Yeah, who's gonna get in the elevator first? See, like, I'm super introverted, so if like someone else gets into an elevator, sometimes I'm like, I'm gonna just wait for the next time, because if I don't have to be in an elevator with someone else, I won't, let alone someone who just did all that. Yeah, I'm like, they're all like, yeah, take him for, he can go. That's me with elevators. Someone else gets in the elevator, I'm like, you know what, this is yours, I'll get the next one, it's fine. Yeah, they're just like, he can go first, it's fine, we'll wait. I understand. Seems like a good self-preservation thing. Ooh, story time. Wow, the art shift has a Van Gogh vibe, or Van Gogh, depending on where you're from, with the like yellows and blues and the like line work. Oh, we talked about see, stars almost triggering now, you know? I'm like, because this is gonna be something to do with Rachel, and I'm still mad at her. I'm assuming this is like because Rachel was Bomb's star, and we don't need to talk about how that worked out. Interesting to talk about a tower, though, given the whole Tower of God. We also had kind of the like platform that Bomb was on, and then we had like the light that was above, and that's like the outside world. I feel like this is all gonna click into place at some point, all of this like imagery that gets repeated throughout the series. I'm just not there yet. Especially since like even this imagery of like before it was like this circle of light above Bomb. I'm gonna try and remember this because I feel like it's all the pieces will fit at some point, because why parallel that imagery? Rachel. I'm still mad. I have not moved on, and some people have told me that they have moved on, they have forgiven or whatever, and I'm not there yet. Interesting, like, too, where we have like Rachel telling the story about someone being in love with a star and wanting that thing, and then I'm assuming Bomb is talking about how that would be lonely because the star isn't like a person, it's just like a thing, it's an object, which I think very much parallels their two motivations, at least before. I don't know what that'll be like now, but it definitely shows that like Rachel's drawn to this like shiny, beautiful thing, right? That's like so high above her, and she just wants to chase after it, but it's just an object, it's just a thing. It's not actually like a person, it's not a relationship, it's not like the experience of journeying towards something. And then you have Bomb, who is very much focused on wanting to be with like a specific person or being with his friends and that kind of a thing, at least for season 1. So I love that like this very simple interaction is very telling of like the separation of these two people and what they're after. Them all sat as far away as they can get. I understand that too. I wouldn't want to sit next to him either, which is strange because again, I'm used to season 1 Bomb, who's just a sweetie pie. Oh, I wonder if other regulars gonna show up. I want some of the other characters to show up, but I don't know if I want them to show up and see Bomb the way that he is. And I feel like it's gonna be put off for a little while. Maybe. I'm making this prediction now. I may be wrong. There's still like half of this chapter left. But I kind of want it to be held off a little bit because I think that Bomb reconnecting with any of the other regulars that we've already met is going to be a very important moment for him. I think that meeting Kun again will be very important because I feel like Kun will be able to kind of figure out what's going on, and Bomb's not going to be able to like push him away in the same way that he can with like maybe other people. So I feel like the writer brain in me wants to hold off, but the fan part of me wants to see all these characters come back together. It's very difficult sometimes to separate the two. Is that Quant on the snacks? I like that she has snacks. I respect someone who's like prepared for everything. I also think it's kind of a humanizing moment that they're all just like sharing snacks, and that's like a very friendship kind of thing. There's something kind of innocent about that. Like sharing food is such a huge thing in like so many cultures, and so having them like sit there sharing food and being kind of like chatting with each other, and then you have Bomb off by himself, because we had in the first season one where they had like the cafeteria that they were all at, and they were all like coming together to eat food together and talk and be friends, and then you had like a few outliers that like weren't really part of the group, but that was like a huge part of like why Bomb was like enjoying the experience of going through the tests. So I think it's interesting to have again another parallel here. They didn't share. I mean, he wasn't particularly nice to her in the previous test, so I understand her not wanting to share with him. Are we gonna share with him, or are we going to ignore? Could go either way. It could be like a nice gesture, but it also might be dangerous. Oh, are we actually gonna do it? Why do I feel like this is something that I would do though? I would just be like, let's go and talk to the weird person off in the corner. It's either resulted in me making a great friend or has not resulted very well, because sometimes people want to be alone. Oh, he accepted. Look at you go. See, was that so hard? It's rude not to share. We're not sharing with everyone though. Where's the bar though? It's like he was mean to her in the previous test, so he doesn't get any, but then like Bomb was trying to kill them, and they're like, you can have a snack, not offering a snack would be rude of me. Where's the scale of who gets to have snacks? Who's it gonna be? Is it gonna be a character we know? Not know? Goodness, hello. You seem a little bit beat up. Does he have like a bear skin thing? I don't know if it's actually a bear because animals tend to be a bit different in this universe. Does he get snacks? He seems like he could use one. Also some bandages, but a snack at the very least. Yeah, complicated, isn't it? Of like, do you help him because that seems like the initial right thing to do? Or are you strategic about it? But okay, he seems quite strong. He is the only one that survived the previous test, and he has made it here. That may be because he is quite dangerous, but it could also be because he's a good fighter, and if you help him, he may be useful. You know, just to see all sides of the argument. What is the blue? Is that someone dissipating? I'm a little bit concerned about the fact that they are starting to glow. Taken out of the tower or this floor, maybe? Because they aren't fit to continue, so they're being like shinsued away. I love the shift in the eyes where they're like, there's more light in them and there's slightly narrowed. It's in a way to show like this compassion, like it's almost like he's getting emotional about it. If you put like more like light into someone's eyes, it's usually to create it a like water effect, so it's like tears, emotion, that kind of a thing. So I like that we're getting more detail into his eyes specifically, because not only does that show like a certain amount of emotion, but also eyes are like the windows into the soul. So putting more detail into those while he's saying this is saying like bringing up the humanity of him, but he's also deciding to make a decision that's like beneficial to him. So he's doing something selfish, but you can see the humanity at the same time, and it's like this wonderful little ambiguous moment, which I think is just like a good art, good storytelling. Yeah, I'm assuming he was removed from the test given his condition. We also had Bomb not doing anything, which is not what I would expect from season 1. Season 1 Bomb would have definitely tried to help. Would have been very distraught about not being able to do anything in time. And now we're getting like no emotion, so a little concerning. But it's better to be together. Lies. I will continue to be mad at her because she doesn't believe that. If she did, she would have taken Bomb with her. Just saying. I do like the confirmation where it's like, now we are getting the connection specifically between this character and Bomb. We all knew though, didn't we? But interesting to talk about, like, you know, it would be lonely and like, why would you build the tower by yourself? It's better to be together. These are all things that Bomb like really believed in previous parts, and then now we have him completely isolating himself like intentionally. I'm just upset on his behalf. Who else we got? Other new characters. Hello. They decided to team up, I guess. Work something out. I like the sweater. Hey! Is that the adorable one from the delivery? Aw, I like they were getting a moment. I remember the adorable little delivery person. I like that they got to make it this far. I hope something awful doesn't happen to them because I'm already attached. It's the tower though, so something awful is probably gonna happen at some point. It's like I'm his mentor. I don't know. You spoke one time. Oh, hello. Don't be weird though. She says no, no means no. Ah, is that the girl that he went up against before? Because we did see a thing at the beginning where he like was doing a test and it did not end well for him. Wasn't that the flamethrower person? I guess I will have to wait and find out. I think that's what happened if I remember all the way back. Okay, so introduced to some new characters. Not characters we've seen before, but excited to meet some new people. Oh, yeah, it is the flamethrower girl. See, sometimes I can't remember things, but other times my brain's like, I'm gonna hold on to that. I feel like a lot of that chapter was like showing off Bomb's skill, but I did like that we got the little flashback with the story and talking to Rachel, because I feel like not only is that like a proper confirmation that this is Bomb, I think we all knew that, but it's good to get actual confirmation, and also to incorporate that he's very different. It's to show contrast from like the past to now, but I think also to show that Rachel still has such a huge influence on him. I think it'd be very easy to like introduce him as like this independent person who's like moved on, become very different, doesn't have a connection to any of the people from his past life, but instead we're getting this backstory where he's still thinking about Rachel and her words, and they're still having an impact on who he is as a person, even if he's like going to like the extreme opposite. Now it's still as a reaction to who Rachel is and his experiences being with her. So we're still having his life so tangled up with her existence, and I feel like that's why he's kind of still in this turmoil, even if he seems very like detached externally. I feel like it's more of a like intentional distancing, because we did have that one point where he was walking into the shadows and you can see a slight change in like his expression because of the silhouette. So, you know, I feel like he is still very emotive. He still has all of those emotions that we're used to seeing from Bomb in like stressful situations where people get hurt, but he's only letting it through when no one can see him, because he's trying to put forward a certain kind of persona, and I'm assuming protect himself. I'm assuming this is because he has been betrayed before and he doesn't want to go through that again. So interesting to kind of see some of those things still being pulled through, and I do like a lot of the parallels between things that we've seen before of different images, whether that is like the little platform with the light above it that we saw with Bomb in the flashbacks anyway, or the like communal eating, which is like kind of like a friendship thing, not necessarily friendship, but like, you know, being nice to each other and cooperating, which is something that we've seen before. Like all these little moments of different things paralleling what happened in Bomb's life in season 1 to show like contrast mainly, but also that like even though Bomb is very different, he has a very different view, there's still like these groups of good people that like still fit into the kind of people that he knew that he was friends with, and the fact that he's distancing himself from it is probably not great. It's like he could still be the person that he was in terms of like meeting good people and teaming up with them and making friends. Like he could probably do all those things, but because of how much he's shifted over the last few years, he's like intentionally pulling himself away from that. So it's like a decision as opposed to him being in like this scary part of the tower where everyone's out for themselves and he's just trying to survive, you know? So I like that we're getting some of those complexities of him without him saying anything and without us getting any real insight into his thoughts and who he is, other than that flashback where we got him speaking. So just like some good writing with these couple of chapters as we set up a bunch of new characters and get introduced to a few more. Some, you know, ones that we are happy to see. The flamethrower girl, maybe not so much because there's a little bit of dark history there, but maybe it'll work out. So I'm excited to meet new characters, even though I would like to see some of our other characters. Maybe we will check in with them at some point, but until then, there's still like good, decent people in the tower, even though it's kind of dark and awful sometimes. I like getting to see some of the lighter side of it as well. You can click this playlist to go and see my previous reactions, or you can subscribe so this next time I post a Tower of God video, and I will see you in the next video. Bye!